everyone, this is CL Cannon of Fiction Atlas Author Services, bringing you another Feel Good Friday author interview. Every week, I strive to bring you inspiring tales about the author journey. Today, I'm here with thriller author Pete Adams. First of all, thanks so much for agreeing to this interview. We're really happy to have you with us.
Thank you. I mean, my books, I'm hoping to get them going a bit better into USA. I had a good review on Kirkus and Publishers Weekly for a Barra Boys Condenser, and I got a new book out in a few weeks' time. So I'm hoping to see that lot catch on a bit more in USA.
Good. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and about your books?
Yeah, right. Well, me, I'm knocking on a bit, although looks can deceive. I suppose I've been writing about 8 years. Always should have been writing 20 years earlier than that. I wasn't sure if I could do it. People kept on saying to me, you should have a mind map. And I could never, ever conceive of a novel in full. Until I heard an interview on the radio with Michael Connolly, and he said he has an idea for the first chapter, and then he sees where it goes from then. And I started that evening. I got home, I was listening to that interview in the car, and I started writing. And I was quite fortunate in that I wrote 3 books. I didn't want to send it off to anyone and have someone say, oh, very nice, Pete, don't give up the day job. But I had 2 agents come back who said they thought it was very promising, and then they gave constructive comment on the manuscript. So I was quite lucky, but I described it as comedy, and both of them said, well, they struggle to place comedy, which is extraordinary when you think about it, because the British are noted for their sense of humour. But it was described to me as the Brits turn around and say, oh, it's comedy. It probably won't make me laugh. And that's the way they are. And yet I was at Crime Fest 16, the panelist there the other day, last year, and I'm going to be again this year. And American audience said the Americans really like their crime novels with humour. And that's how, when I got signed up by a publisher, that I met them for the first time. They said, oh, Pete, really like your crime thrillers. They make me laugh. And that was it. You see, I was describing it as comedy, and it's actually crime thrillers that make you laugh.
Well, I certainly like that. So,
yeah. Have you read the book?
I have not read the book yet, but it is on my list.
Yes. Well, my suggestion is, because I've got a very, very big to be read list, as of so many people, and I always suggest you put mine to the top.
Okay.
Especially as I got another one coming out in about 4 weeks. April the 20th it's coming out.
All right.
Yeah, you should do. And because I've had very good response from American readers, and this is why I am hoping that my publisher, because I self-published my first 2, and then I got picked up by a publisher, and I'm hoping they're going to publish themselves books 1 and 2, rebrand them. They got a great graphic designer for the covers, because they've done book 3 and book 4 is coming out. Mm-hmm. And then do it as sort of a box set to see if we can get the Americans interested. I mean, I've got the box already, so yeah. Sorry, that's British humour. So go on, ask away. I did a radio interview a little while ago on the BBC, and afterwards it was about 10 minutes, and she said, I never really got to ask you any questions. It's because you got to stop me. Go on. Okay. Yeah, was that question 1?
Yeah, that was question 1. Can you tell us what sparked your love of writing and how old you were when you wrote your very first story?
Well, I mean, actually, this is very interesting, because I'm an architect, actually. That's my day job. I've got my own practice. And I was only really interested in architecture, and I rarely read fiction. I did like Rumpole of the Bailey. That's types of books and things like this. And I read the odd one or two. But it wasn't until I got to about age 40 and we hit a big recession here. And it was the first time a recession hit my practice. And I went down to the library because my doctor said, relax a cat. He said, don't worry, no sleeping didn't kill anybody. Well, what did he know? Because actually they do say you can now. And I went down the library to look at hobbies. And then a librarian came up to me and said, what are you doing? I said, I'm looking for a hobby because I'm screwed up in this recession. And she said, well, what do you like? And I said, well, I quite like medieval history. And she gave me Umberto Eco, the Name of the Rose. And that was it. I was hooked. And I started reading from there. And funny enough, stayed in touch with that librarian, head librarian. But the Tories in this country now have laid all those people off because they can't see how a library could possibly help people. But and I stayed in touch, and then she said I used to take loads of books out. And I was an avid reader. You know what they say about someone who's converted becomes. Well, I became an avid reader, and then I stopped taking so many books out. And she contacted me, and I said, "Well, it's because I'm writing." And she said, "Oh, it's fantastic." And she followed me and helped me, and then when I was ready to talk to an agent, she put me in touch with various people, and then I moved on from there. And that was it.
That's great. That's great to have, someone that will believe in you and someone that will inspire you like that.
Well, I think a lot of the librarians, that you take on a job like that because you love books, you love writing, and if someone shows enthusiasm for it, then I think it's quite refreshing. And I don't know what it's like now so much, although I get invited to do talks at libraries and about my books and things, and they get quite well attended. It's just a shame that they don't invest in the libraries anymore. In fact, they're shutting them in this country. It's a diabolical shame.
That's kind of the way it is here. It's becoming less and less of a thing, and even in schools and things, it's starting to get defunded. All the arts are so.
Oh my God! It's as Churchill said at the end of the war, when I think it was the Tories were proposing cutting the arts, and he said, "Well, what do we fight for?"
Right.
And he was absolutely right. I mean, what is the point? What is life without the arts? I mean, this obsession with business and making money and conspicuous consumption, it's diabolical. It's not life. It's not life. Not at all.
It's not anything that I personally, as a child, ever dreamed about. I was never like, oh, I can't wait to grow up and do some math or anything like that.
Grow up and screw somebody out of some money and then be lauded about how fantastic you are. That's the attitude, you see.
Right.
If you can actually screw somebody or do some sort of very smart deal that leaves somebody hurting, then you're considered smart and clever. Whereas in the old days, and I've been around for a long time, it used to be everyone has to earn a living. And if they don't earn a living, if someone's not earning a living, then he's going to be upset. And eventually that's going to be the little chink in the wall that breaks it down. Mm-hmm. And that's what's happening. I mean, it is going to break down. It looks like it's moving along in a fascist state, a fascist wave, even in Europe. And it's very worrying. We've got to stop it. And if we don't stop it, we'll have books burning in the street again.
Yeah, we don't want that.
No, we don't. Yeah.
It breaks my heart to think of things like that, of knowledge and literature and things just being pushed aside, and I hate that.
I've just seen a picture on Facebook of a bookshop that was closed by a landlord, and all the books chucked out on a skip. I mean,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's like the Nazis burning books again. Sorry, carry on. What's the next question?
You're fine. I like getting into discussions too. So, my next question is, what does the outlining process look for you, and do you have a particular process? I think you already talked briefly about that.
No, I don't. Every one of my books starts with a very serious intent, and it by about page 3 or 4, levity starts to creep in. But someone I admired a lot, Peter Ustinov, This is my favorite quote. He said that comedy is a funny way of being serious. And it is. And people can relate to comedy, and yet they can carry a serious message. I mean, my books, the fourth one is coming out. I've written all 8 of this series. So I call it a trilogy in 8 books because it's when I'd written those 3 and the publisher got interested, he said, "Oh, this is a trilogy." And I said, yeah. So he sort of said, "I'm signing Pete Adams for the Kind Hearts and Martinets trilogy." And by the time it all came around, because it takes so long to get a book out, I'd written the 5th one. And so he said, "Well, let's just call it Kind Hearts and Martinets, a trilogy in 5 books. And by the time we get round to the 4th one, we've done 8 books. And that's the end of the series." And but every one of them has underlying thread of social fairness, social justice, and every book can be read individually, but it attacks a certain part of the establishment in a nice way. It makes fun of them, and by making fun of it, you can show how stupid a lot of it is.
Yes.
The 5th one that's coming out doesn't attack, but it does actually, civil servants in our country, and how they all come out of their big private schools and their West End clubs and so on, and they haven't got a clue what's going on in the world. And that's how they are the martinets, because they believe this is what the life should be, because they've been told that's the way life should be, and they'll force it through, not open to any other opinion from a kind heart. And that's Kind Hearts and Martinets in 8 books, a trilogy.
That's great. See, now I have 8 books that I have to put on my to be read list.
Yeah, but they're not out yet, and the 4th one's out. I mean, the 5th one I've discussed with my publisher, and he says he'll bring that out next year. And that's called Mer de Mandarins, and that's Mandarin in Britain is a senior civil servant. They call them Mandarins because they can't understand the word they're saying because they're so convoluted that it sounds like Chinese, and they've been known as Mandarins for years. So Mer de Mandarins.
Well, I will definitely be checking those out, and I will move them to the top of my list like you suggested. I have so many of them, though.
There was a book reviewer who contacted me, and actually I met her at in Britain here. They got a thing called the Book Club online, started by a girl called Tracy Fenton. I say girl, she's a very mature woman, but compared to me, she's a girl. And it's got nearly 7,000 members now, and they have parties all around the country. And they invite authors. I got invited to one in London. In fact, I'm going to another one in October, I think. But it's fantastic to meet such avid readers, such enthusiasts. But I met a reviewer there, and she said, "Oh, I've got your book, Pete." And I said, "Oh, great. Let me know what you think." It was, well, it's about 100 before I get there. So good. She has so many books. I said, "God, that would be. I would find that quite depressing. I've got about 8 books I've got to read, and it weighs me down because I really want to read them, and then I really want to write, and then I have to do my work in my architectural practice, which is actually quite busy at the moment."
That's the way I am. I have my author services business. I have my novel that I'm writing, and then I have my to be read list that is like large. But I think last year I read 60 books or something. I will bump yours up, I swear. Because it does sound really interesting.
Oh, right. Yes. Well, it's got some very good reviews. As I say, over in the pond in your country, Kirkus and Publishers Weekly gave it a good review. And in Germany here, there's a German author, Skady Winter. In fact, she gave me such a good review. I bought one of her books, which was lovely book. But she said it was probably the best contemporary British novel she had read in a long time. So I was very flattered. That's why I bought her book, of course. But she wrote a lovely book. It's through the eyes of a child, just at the start of the Second World War, and it as a child observes the nonsense of the political machinations and how people react and things like this. It's a gorgeous book, a gorgeous book. Anyway, carry on.
Well, there's another one to be added to my list.
Yeah, but under mine.
Yeah, right under.
If you look at I think you're on my book page because I got an ordinary page and I got a page for my books. Are you on that one?
I think I am. If not, I'd be glad to join it.
It's Pete Adams, author, all one word, and I think it's lowercase. I can't remember. And you look on that one, and I review books. Those books I really like, I put on there, and I review that one. It's called Hex. Well, it's a lovely book, very lovely writer too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll check that out. Okay, the next question I have for you is, what time of day do you find yourself most likely to write, and do you have a special place that you do that?
Well, there is absolutely no doubt. It's as early in the morning as I could possibly manage. It's this morning I was up at 5. I get up 5 generally, and if it depends, if I'm got practice work, which I did today, unfortunately, I will do a lot of that, and then hopefully free up some time in the day for writing. But the weekends especially, it's then I'm up as early as I possibly can, and I will write until lunchtime, and I love it. I love it. Currently, I've got a 9th book underway, but I've been writing some short stories. A publisher published one of my short stories, and it became the anthology became a bestseller in UK, Australia, USA, and Canada, and it still is right at the top. It's called Dark Minds, and I had a review, and I think it was an American. He said, Pete Adams, your short story is called Pop Dead, The Pension Papers, and it was genius, and that was nice, wasn't it? And anyway, I had so much feedback on these short stories, which I've never really written before. It's just this publisher contacted me and said, would you write a short story? Mm-hmm. And so I've written 3 in their pop series, and I've written another one, and I've got about 6 or 7 short stories. I'm hoping to interest somebody in an anthology there. Plus, I've written. Did you know this? I've written 3 books. I self-illustrated them. They're sort of like nonsense books. Do you know Spike Milligan? Have you heard of Spike Milligan?
No, I haven't.
When he's dead now, unfortunately, but he was an absolutely wonderful comedian in this country, and he wrote some fantastic books and did little drawings in them. And I've done the same. It's written as an 8-year-old girl and her granddad, and they have adventures, and I do little drawings by the side, and they go back in history and so on, and we right wrongs in history, and but it's with 2 publishers at the moment, so fingers crossed, eh?
All right. I have 2 kids, so there we go.
Oh yes, well I've sent them out to beta readers, and they said they sat and read it to the kids. They get to be about 7 or 8, and then their teenagers loved it. But it's as I said to the publishers, it's children's books for grown-ups who have not grown up, and that's what it is, really. It was targeted that, but when I sent it to the beta readers, they read it to their kids, and they said it really went well, and that was good anyway. So I'm really fingers crossed for that. I've written 3 of those, and I'd love to see those take off because I think they're just so funny,
Yeah.
Well, I would say that, wouldn't I? Yeah.
Well, it's good to always have confidence in yourself, so there you go.
Yeah, and it's written as the character is 8 years old, and she does the drawings and everything like that. Mm-hmm. And people say to me, it's a shame we didn't get an 8-year-old to draw them because it might have been better. Anyway, there you are. That's the best. What I'll do is I'll send you a couple of the sketches over and see what you think.
Okay, that sounds great.
If you message me with your email address, I'll send you the first manuscript over, and you can have a read of it.
Okay.
Read it to your kids.
Okay, I'll do that.
How old are you?
I've got a 7-year-old. Well, he'll be 7 in a couple months, and then I've got a 2-year-old, almost 3-year-old. So
just steer clear of the 2 and 3-year-old, but the 7 just might scrape in there.
Yeah.
Good. Anyway,
the other one won't stand still long enough for me to read anything in the first place. That's my wild child.
And you asked me where I work. Well, we've got a very old house here, and we've been restoring it over about 8 or 9 years. And I actually work here underneath the stairs, and what is actually the utility room because gradually as the house gets restored, and I still haven't been able to get myself a room to write in. But I've written 11 books here underneath the stairs. And if you had your camera working, you'd have seen the washing machine and tumble dryer. I've had people say to me, "I think you got a setting too high." Which is why that shirt's a bit tight on you. No, nothing to do with the fact that I'm near the kitchen. I write and I graze.
I do the same things.
Yeah, it's so hard. I mean, when I do finally get myself a room in this house to write, although we might move to Ireland because my missus is Irish, and then it's got to be as far away from the kitchen as possible.
You could just embrace it and get like a mini fridge to put in there.
No, that would be a disaster.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, next one, Courtney.
All right. Have you taken any real life experiences or people that you know in real life and incorporated them into your stories?
Well, of course, there is a get out of jail free message at the beginning that says this is pure fiction, and it is, but every author sees things and makes notes of things as you're walking around, characters, and especially characters.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, so real life events certainly influence me. Real life people influence me, but I fictionalize them so nobody gets hurt.
Right.
And I have had people come up to me and say, "Is that me?" And I say, "Do you want it to be?"
What do you think?
And they do say, "Never upset an author because he'll kill you in his book and give you a terrible death."
Hopefully, only in his book.
Yes. Oh dear. Righto. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I've got two more. What advice would you give to other new authors who might be struggling to achieve their dreams, who might be doubting themselves?
Never give up. That's the thing. Never give up. Churchill again, who said, "Never, ever, ever, ever give up." And it's not the writing. The writing is actually the easy bit. The hard bit is finding someone to publish it or get an agent or, well, you will know because you as an editor as well.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, they see their manuscript as gold dust, but when you get it back from an editor, I think when I got my first one back from an editor, whole bloody chapter went missing, and I really liked that. So he said to me, "Make a short story of it," and I will one day. Actually, a very good idea to make a short story of it. You think a very good editor can cut through so much dross. And they make your manuscript, but unfortunately, you don't get to that stage unless you're prepared to pay for an editor, or you get a good agent who will edit for you, or you get a publisher who puts their editor in with you, and they're great to work with. It was Bloodhound Books that did the short stories, and they took two of my short stories, and in the end, they said they're going to put the second one into another book, but the editor they had was brilliant, absolutely brilliant, was able to see exactly what I was trying to achieve. It was only a short story, obviously, but she zeroed right in. And it was, and I happened to meet her actually at the launch of the book. And I said to her, "Yeah, it was wonderful editing. It was, because you know how sometimes you have one or two superfluous words and, especially as an author, you somehow or other, you go off on a bit of a word trip, and they cut you back, and that's great. It works really, really well.
I think another thing is it's really important. I mean, there's a lot of great editors out there, but to find someone who gets you and gets your story, because you can technically edit anything, but if you have somebody who actually cares about your story, then you're set.
No, absolutely. That is essential. Not only cares about your story, you've got to understand what you're driving at, with the story. Anyway, I've been quite fortunate, I think.
I think I've got one more question for you. And my kids have been exceptionally great, which I'm kind of scared to go in there now. Worried that they're okay. But what do you hope that your future looks like? What are your plans for your future, and what are your dreams for it?
Well, it's I'm past retirement age, but I can't afford to retire, and I have a practice, architect's practice. It's quite busy,
Hmm.
but eventually, what I think I'd like to do is write full time. I would still only write sort of 5 o'clock in the morning till lunchtime, and June and I have talked about that. We got to get the last son through college, and then we might sell up here and move back to, or she's Irish, I move to Ireland, and then find a nice place there, and I'll write, and will do what she does, which is she's a specialist in autism and Asperger's and children with difficulties and so on,
Hmm.
and hopefully she'll work on from there. Um, so I don't imagine myself being ever passive and doing nothing. It's I'm what do they call it? Passive aggressive, and especially with DIY. Do you know what DIY is?
Do it yourself?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm useless at DIY. And I was just telling someone interviewed me the other day, and they said, "Oh, what is it?" I said, "Well, I'm a passive aggressive DIY man. I talk to the fridge door that won't close, and after a while, if it doesn't reason with me, I hit it with a hammer, and then it shuts." So, and that is a true story. Bloody fridge wouldn't shut, so I hit it with a hammer, and now it does.
Well, that's one way to do it.
And tell me, what book are you writing? What
Um,
sort? Genre?
I'm doing a fantasy.
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess more of a magical realism. It's set in this sort of world, but I'm hoping to do at least 3 books with it, and then I've done one short story, and I've got some more short stories that are coming up. I'm not really married to one genre. I don't think I've got an interest in a lot of different ones. So
Yeah, it's great that you're writing it. I struggle a bit with fantasy stuff, and I get sent them to review. I did get one from my publisher, who this chap, and I said to him, "Look, it's not really my scene, but it was a bloody good book." David John Griffin, I can't remember what it was called now. It's something about Alistair Stubbs.
hmm
That's 3 down from mine. If you pick it up and read it.
okay,
Well, it'll be 4 down because there'll be mine on top, then the other one from me underneath that.
right.
Right, okay.
I'm gonna have to write all this down.
Oh no, you just message me on Facebook and I'll send it back to you.
Okay, you tell me exactly which ways we'll be right.
I've got that's your email address I've got, isn't it?
Yeah, it should be info at
Yeah, I got
CL
that.
Cannon. Yeah.
Yeah. And what I'll do is I'll send you the first manuscript. It's not obviously desktoped or anything like that. It's just written and with my drawings on of the first Whopping Tales. Okay. All right. It's called Whopping Tales. The 3 of them. Yeah. And I'll send you. Let me know what you think about it.
I will. And
Mm.
like I said, I will let my kids see the illustrations and everything and at least read to my 7-year-old.
The kids like the drawings, and provided you read it to them and do a little bit of editing maybe. But there was another author who read it to his child. I think his child was about 8 or 9. Said they really, really liked it, and you'll need a carrot.
Okay.
Yeah, you will need a carrot.
Okay, I think I can pick that up.
Yes, that's right. I'll email it to you straight away.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Then, if your kids wake up or they're being say, "Well, look, I've got this. I'm going to read it to you." Sit down. Here's your carrot. Okay.
Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, Courtney, it's been great talking to you.
It's been
Really.
great to talk to you too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. These interviews have become really a great part of my week because I just get to talk to so many people from different places. So it's great talking to you.
You too, Courtney. You too. I'm going to send this stuff to you straight away.
All right. Bye.
Yeah. Cheers then. Bye.
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 Well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us, Pete. I'm going to leave links to all of Pete's social media and websites in the description. Please check them out. Now, if you or someone you know would like to request a Feel Good Friday interview, please send an email to info@fiction-atlas.com with the subject line Feel Good Friday. Thanks for listening. I'll be back next Friday with more inspiring author stories.